I completed all of Vinland Saga. Not just, the anime, that too, but also its manga. I've completed all of it. And honestly, I really liked it from start to finish. And so, let's start from the top. If you somehow don't know what Vinland Saga is, it's a anime, very action packed, and I would recommend it. And main thing that I really like about it, it's just is pretty well balanced. All things considered, comedy for the most part land, which you kind of do expect because considering how old Vinland Saga is. Remember, this series is like 100 chapters, 200 chapters long, and it was made monthly. So that's a lot of years. So it's like is when it started and it finished pretty recently. I read, the manga, and you could really tell that it took a lot of time for this to finish because the style throughout the series changes. And Vinland Saga has this very specific style to it, kind of realistic, kind of softened, kind of round. Now, the story is that our main character, Thorfinn, was living in Iceland in ye olden times, and his dad was a great man. His shadow was cast over Thorfinn's entire life, and that man was unfairly murdered by Askeladd. And because Askeladd is a mercenary for hire, for that he needs an entire militia, and our main character Thorfinn joins this militia. And then he grows up on that militia and commits horrific acts. Like one of them episodes, he gets lost basically in the English wilderness and is found by an old lady and is helped by her, and the daughter is like, "Don't do it. He ain't from here. You should hand him off to the government." And she doesn't do that. And to repay her, Thorfinn kills her entire village, including her. And this type of shit, he does a lot of that. It has a very pronounced theme. It mostly talks about, in the later half, the effects of one's own action and what it takes to be accountable, to actually try to undo the harms that you have done. But yeah, then basically decent chunk of Thorfinn's life happens. He grows up to 15 or something, and after spending this much time is drafted into the Danish army to attack England. Long story short, Askeladd found a mountain of a man, Thorkel, and he basically hunted his ass for thousands of miles of English land with a giant army, 500 men strong, just to capture and I guess kill the Danish king's kid, the prince. And I just don't think I could, get into the details of this series, which I really want to, but I obviously have to, hold myself back to make this concise. But let's continue. After basically being chased through half of England, they stop that guy and he joins up with them. And then the Danish prince, Prince Canute, is in charge of Askeladd and Thorkel's group. And they marched up to the Danish king. And before this meeting happens, Askeladd explains to Thorfinn what Askeladd has been doing to him, basically manipulating him for years of his life, wasted being manipulated by this man. He explains because, well, he couldn't do what he wanted to do. He couldn't take revenge the right way because Askeladd, he had done something similar. And of course, spoilers ahead. But he actually did get his revenge. He actually killed his father. He basically didn't care about shit and just killed his dad. No formality, none of that. And Thorfinn doesn't want to do that. He wants to do it the right way. And so he doesn't get the chance because as Askeladd meets the king, he kills him. And in return, The Prince Canute kills Askeladd because that's what was expected of him. And all those years of Thorfinn's life went down the drain like this. And after that, his entire life becomes meaningless and devoid of, everything that made him what he was. And so he becomes a slave. Willingly, in fact. He ends up at Kettle's farm. This man, and at this point, you realize that Thorfinn's father may be a great person, but in all actuality, he was just an anomaly, as far as a moral anomaly, as far as the world is concerned. And so, after his entire life being devoid of meaning, he is racked with the guilt of killing hundreds, even thousands of people who had done nothing to him. And this is basically the rest of the entire stories. And so, after, months of these nightmares, he meets Einar. And this man becomes his friend. We get to meet him, we get to realize what this farm is about. It's a pretty good place, and we realize that, all good things can't last, and all of this goes to shit. This is what the second season of the anime covers, and I think it's this that the previous season's action built up to. And this experience teaches him something, our main character, that for him to atone, he has to make a place which is freed of the suffering that the old world has. And that place is Vinland. And to reach that place becomes his life's goal. And so, after King Canute comes back and tries to take Kettle's farm so he can fund his military campaign, after listening to Thorfinn, he realizes that what he is doing, that's not what he wants. Like, his goal is to make his own heaven on earth. Again, this is a masterpiece and you should read it. And so, after this meeting happens, the second season ends. And spoilers for the manga beyond this point, because I've read it and I really liked how they handled it. And so after this, they go back to Norway and try to get some funds. And so they meet a rich man named Halfdan, who gives them narwhal horns, knowing that if they go to Greece and Arabia, they can sell that. And so they do. They go there, and in the middle of the voyage, they find one of Thorfinn's victims. He killed her father, and in exchange for not killing him, he assured this person that I can't remember the name of. Anyways, he assured this person that, he will make a heaven on earth that's free of all the suffering, and you could take my life after all of that's complete. That's forfeit. Hey, I'm ready for that. But please let me get my shit together. That's what he says. And so this person tanks along because, she ain't gonna let our man out of her sight ever. And so, after this, they get into another battle. An organization, the Yams Viking, they also were the people who hired Askeladd to kill Thorfinn's father. They get into a civil war, basically. So, it's kind of convoluted, but Thorkel is hired by Yams Vikings to kill the person who is most likely to become the leader of Yamsburg. He is promised a fight, but as soon as he arrives, this famed general, he's been killed by the Yam Vikings leader, Floki's right-hand man, basically. And this pisses this guy off because he lives to fight. That's the meaning of his entire life. That's what makes him him. And after getting pissed, he turns back and says, "Oh, screw that! I'm gonna take Yamsburg." The king said he could, and he was real pissed. So he goes there, and 3 days of fighting happens. And in these 3 days, Thorfinn sneaks into Yamsburg, causes a bunch of chaos, and then dismantles the Yams Vikings forever. And then 2 year time skip. And Thorfinn goes to Miklagard, the place that I said, basically Greece and the surrounding areas, and sold his narwhal horns. And after selling that, he becomes rich enough to fund an entire colony on his own. And so after coming back, he does exactly that. He goes to Vinland, which is just an island. And I personally, when I was reading, thought that Vinland was like Canada and the surrounding areas. But no, Vinland is just one island on Canada. And they go there and settle down. A rule that he introduced was that no swords are allowed. Those are weapons of, killing. That's against the ethos of this entire journey. So as they go there, they recruit other people, and one of them, is against this entire idea of no swords, and sneaks his sword in, and that will become important later. So Thorfinn, after landing there, starts to communicate with the natives living there, and Bug Eyes, he starts learning their language. Then after he learns their language, they start to communicate. But after they start to communicate, shit hits the fan real quick, because one of the elders of the natives, he does an arcane ritual, and the spirits tell him that you're screwed. All of you. You're gonna die a horrific death. And after all of that, these guys, they're gonna make a most powerful bomb known to humanity. The atom bomb. And at that moment, I was like, the fuck? Where the hell did this come from? Like, all of this series up to this point was like real straight. Like, none of this was magical at all. And no one really believes the elder at first. But after they see a sword being used, they realize, oh shit, these people got something that we don't. And, didn't have a steel sword capable of slicing one's entire hand off. And that's when this guy, he basically won. Like, right then and there. Big spoiler warning right here. This will probably ruin your entire viewing experience if you hear this. So, if you really want to see this story, because I haven't talked about a lot, I've skipped a lot that you would probably like, this is a point you should get off. But if you don't want to watch, or if you have watched, I will now continue. All of the work we have seen through all of the years of publication, every single page, it all goes to shit. Like, everything. I don't think I dislike the ending. It's just, honestly, I kind of expected it to be something along the lines of this, but I didn't really expect it. I just thought it would be either a better ending, or we would have something in regards to closure. And as I said, I do recommend this series, but I don't think I will spoil you the ending, what exactly happens. But I just will tell you that everything goes to shit. It's the end of the dream. Well, at least for Thorfinn. And now my thoughts on this entire series. It was and still is my top series. Like, if it wasn't, a comic, I probably will, make an anime list on, but including the comic because I've already read it. Yeah, that would be very unfair if I rank it, but just know it would rank pretty high on my top 10 list of animes and adjacent. because I haven't read most of, mangas of an anime. I can't compare this to it because it would be completely unfair. But this is possibly one of my favorite stories because it's very well written. Like, I like the character of Thorfinn's father, the way that he permeates the entire story. Like, every second of what we see, that is related to this character. And even though he appears for just a few episodes in the first season, even in those few episodes and the later mentions of it, you get a very good idea of what this character was, how larger than life he was. And again, action does have its plus points, but in this specific series, even though its action does rock, it's not mainly the action that makes me like it. It's the story that I like more than the action, and than anything else. I really like the story, and I don't think I'm 100% sold on the ending, because I think that kind of soured, my placing of this. Again, I couldn't tell you what my ideal ending would be, and if my ideal ending would have happened, it would have been boring. So I'm not 100% on the ending. It's 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Great series. This series did get a lot of attention, and I hope that attention correlates to a third season. No promises, no, but I do have my fingers crossed. But hey, what can you do? If it doesn't happen, so be it. But yeah, I just really like the story, and I would love to see it, be animated. Even though it's been like 3-4 months since I've read this story, the fact that the entire story is crystal clear, even the first chapters, which I read a year or so ago, is a testament to how good this story is. Like, even if my stupid ass can remember this, it's on another level. I'm pretty sure that till the day I die, and even beyond that, this story will live rent-free up in this noodle until the end of time. But yeah, that's about it from me. Bye.